Have you ever caught yourself saying, "I'll do it later," and actually believed it? Maybe it's the workout you promised yourself on Monday, and we all know what day that really happened. Probably never. Maybe it's the book you dream of writing, or that conversation you know you need to have, the one that could actually change everything, but you keep putting it off for just one more day. And deep down, you already know that later rarely comes. And yet that tiny little phrase feels so harmless, so safe, even responsible, am I right? But what if I told you that later is one of the most dangerous words in your vocabulary? Today we're going to be exposing the lie that steals your peace, delays your purpose, and drains your potential. Friend, we're talking about procrastination, that sneaky little thief hiding in plain sight. And by the end of this episode, you'll understand what procrastination really is and how to take a bold, faithful action even when it feels uncomfortable. My friend, this is your wake-up call. This is your decision day. Welcome to the Communication Architect, the podcast that equips you to grow, step into courage, and live with purpose. I'm your host, Tannera. I'm a teacher, author, and your coach in communication and personal growth. Each week, we dive into strategies for building trust, speaking truth, mastering your mindset, and creating habits that move you forward into your purpose. This is the place where communication moves from theory to real life, where biblical truth meets everyday challenges, and where you'll discover how to turn faith into action, challenges into clarity, and everyday life into a journey of courage and fulfillment. All right, hey friends, welcome back to season 2 of Communication Architect. This season is all about your decision day. All right, let's dive in. So, you've probably heard it before, I'm not lazy, I'm just busy. I mean, I used to say this a lot, right? But here's the thing, most procrastinators aren't lazy. They actually are busy, extremely busy. But the busyness is honestly, it's often a disguise, and we fill our calendars. Trust me, I know how to fill a calendar. We color code it and we organize it. We even buy the planner. Guys, I can't tell you how many planners I have that are halfway filled and not completed. We have all the fun with the colored pens and the stickers, and we get creative, and we have so much fun filling out the planner. Meanwhile, the one action that would move us forward still sits untouched. Procrastination isn't a time issue. Honestly, it's a truth issue. It's fear wearing a disguise, and it whispers things like, "I just don't feel ready today. I'll start after things calm down. I'll do it when I'm not so tired. I'm just so busy. I'll have to wait for a better season to try." But friend, readiness is not a feeling. It is a decision. James 4:17 says, "If anyone knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is a sin." This teaches us that delayed obedience is still disobedience. So I like to call procrastination hesitation in motion. It's quiet resistance to obedience, and most of the time, it's not because you don't want to move forward. It's because something in you is afraid of what will happen when you do. That's why in my new book, Decision Day, I say procrastination isn't about effort. It's really about emotions. You're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feeling. Maybe it's fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear of being seen, fear of getting it wrong, and sometimes fear of actually succeeding. Because success means that things would have to change. And no matter how much we may want change in our lives, we struggle many times being willing to go through what is required to have that change. We prefer actually dreaming the dream rather than taking action to actually be able to live in the dream. So I had a client once who spent 3 weeks perfecting her color-coded task board. while avoiding sending a single email that could have actually changed her business and brought the success that she was planning on. She spent all this time planning, but never took action on the plan. So I told her, you could win a gold medal in busy work, but your business will still be flatlining. Friend, procrastination really is just a silent thief of our destiny, of our future. It is a silent thief of your dreams. And every time you say later, you're handing today's power to tomorrow. And eventually, tomorrow turns into never. But here is the good news. Procrastination can be broken. Not by guilt, not by shame, but by truth and movement, guys. So let's dig a little deeper. And what's really underneath your delay? So I've coached so many people who say the same thing. I just can't seem to start, or I'm just too busy to start right now. I'll do it later. And usually, guys, it's not laziness, but it is fear disguised as busy work. So fear of failure, or fear of not being enough, or fear of being seen, and sometimes, yes, even perfectionism become the thing that stop us from taking that step of action to just start. So think about the servant in Matthew 25. He was the one given one talent, but yet he didn't use that talent. He didn't put it to work. He never even put it in the money banks for it to just produce interest. He did nothing. Rather, he actually buried his talent. Why? Because he was afraid. He was maybe afraid of failure. He was afraid of what would happen if he lost it. He allowed fear to paralyze him. He didn't fail because he did things wrong or because he put the money in the bank and failed. He failed because he didn't even try. He never moved. He did not take action. His failure wasn't for a lack of trying. His failure was for a lack of movement. So fear convinces us that safety lives in standing still, or to do what the quote, the bad steward in a sense of Matthew 25 did. So fear tells us to quote, steward your money well, you have to hold on to it, or to steward this situation well, don't move forward until you have everything lined out, right? Perfectionism comes in and says it all has to be perfect or you can't take a step forward. It convinces us to stay still. But in standing still, what it does is it steals from us our destiny. It steals our future. It doesn't get us any closer to our dream, any closer to fulfilling our purpose. In fact, it just keeps us spinning, keeping us busy doing other things or doing things to make it look like we're making movement. But in reality, we're stuck in the same position. And then there's perfectionism. If it can't be perfect, we convince ourselves we can't start. But Noah didn't wait until the meteorologist confirmed a 100% chance of rain and he knew exactly what he was building. He'd never built an ark. I don't even know if anybody had ever built a boat at that point. But he did it. He obeyed the Lord plank by plank in obedience. He continued to take steps even when the people around him told him he was crazy. He still said, nope, I'm going to do exactly what God told me to do. He didn't wait for everything to be perfect. He didn't wait for confirmation of what the end would look like before he even started. He just got started. And then there's anxiety, all right? So many times anxiety holds us back from moving forward. You know, that feeling when the task is so big that your brain basically screams at you before you even begin. Science calls that the intention-action gap. So our spirit says, go, but fear holds us back and says, no, wait, right? That anxiety of I don't know, can I? That emotion starts to step in, and the emotion creates procrastination. But somewhere in the middle of all of this, it is your purpose that is getting stuck in traffic. So guys, here's the truth. Fear will always scream louder before the breakthrough. And guys, that's how you can know you're close. Movement is the antidote whenever anxiety or perfectionism or fear of failure, any emotion comes in to try to stop you from taking a step, to stop you from making a decision, to taking action. The way you break through is to move, take action. Movement is your antidote. Not massive leaps, guys, but just one small step. Make that phone call, schedule that conversation, and then have it, right? Every time you resist the "I'll do it later" lie, you are carving a new pathway into your brain. That action builds belief, and belief fuels your transformation. So let's now shift from what is holding you back to what actually sets you free. Procrastination isn't just a productivity problem. It's a spiritual problem. It's about whether you trust God enough to act when you can't see the outcome. In Hebrews 11:8, it says, "By faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to a place where he was to receive as an inheritance. And he went out," notice the action, "and he went out, not knowing where he was going." How many times have we heard a word from the Lord, or we have felt that God placed a desire in our heart that we say, okay, I know what I need to do, but because I don't know where I'm going, because I don't know the outcome, because I don't know what it's going to look like in the end, then we hesitate going out. We hesitate the movement. But this is what I love in Hebrews 11:8. This is Abraham, the father of our faith. It says he went out not knowing where he was going. He was literally going out blind, just like, all right, one foot in front of the other. We'll just keep moving. And we all know how beautifully God turned that out. So faith isn't waiting for full clarity, but it's moving in the face of fear. Whatever that emotion is that's trying to inhibit you from taking that action step, guys, take the step. And again, it doesn't need to be a giant leap. It's just one small step. Sometimes obedience looks like building the ark before there's even rain. I mean, just imagine what Noah went through trying to put together this ark with these dimensions or these ideas that maybe the Lord showed unto him. But in that, everyone around him says, "You're crazy. What do you mean rain? What is rain?" Nobody had ever seen it. And yet he's building something for something coming that he doesn't even understand. He's like, I don't know. I don't understand what's happening. I'm just doing what I was told to do. He took steps of faith and he moved in faith, in action, without knowing the end from the beginning or what it was going to be when it was done. So sometimes it's applying for the job before you feel qualified. And sometimes it's writing the book while you still doubt if anyone will even read it. Guys, I had a client once who she delayed starting this ministry for years that she knew God had placed in her heart. But she had spent so much time again planning. What would it look like? How could this be? It's not the right time, is what she would say a lot of times. She just was waiting for perfect timing. But one day she decided. I was so proud of her. She finally said, enough is enough. Now is the time. You know, does that remind you of a scripture? Now faith is. So she decided now faith is. And so she did it. She planned her first event. She was unsure if anyone would show up, but she planned it and she sent out the invites and she prepared. And then at the very first meeting, and yes, guys, she actually did show up to her own meeting. I was so proud of her because she was so nervous. She was scared out of her mind. But she put her foot through the door. She opened it. She put her foot through the door. She got there, guys. And guess what? People came and lives were changed. And God's plan for her life finally started moving forward. Guys, the problem is so many times we get a desire, we feel like we get a word from the Lord, or there's something we're dreaming of that we want, and we want to wait for, quote, perfect timing. But the issue is there is no such thing as perfect timing, but there is such a thing as now faith is. Now is the time to move. And the more that we delay thinking, well, if it's God's plan, he'll just, quote, do it. But the truth is God has partnered with us and he has said, look, this is my desire. Will you partner with me? Is this something you want to move forward with? And if you continue to sit there and plan for 20 years and never take a movement, well, he'll still love you, but you've missed out on one of the greatest plans he has for you. So this is really our choice to say, yes, Lord, I agree with you. I partner with you. Therefore, by faith, I take this step of action. Scripture says that faith without works is dead. So if you're sitting there saying, well, I trust God, but you're not taking any movement, well, you have dead faith. And that wasn't me. That was James. In the book of James, it says, faith without works is dead. So if you truly trust God and you trust those desires are from him, then take the step of faith. Move, create an action, make a decision, and just trust that God is going to meet you there. So back to my client, what I was so proud of her is that she didn't allow her fear in that moment to take over the step of faith to just do it. Her fear didn't vanish, but it did become a launch pad for her. So friend, your action really invites God's power to move on your action. And guys, let me remind you that comfort and calling rarely live at the same address. So as you get ready to take this step of faith, get ready to be uncomfortable. If you choose to live in comfort, you're probably not going to be living out that calling. But as you step into the calling and you take the actions of faith, you will be uncomfortable, but man, what a beautiful experience you're going to have with the Lord and stepping into everything he has created for you. So guys, I want to encourage you, move, especially when your hands are shaking, when your heart is pounding and your knees are weak. And watch grace meet you in the middle. Watch it meet you in your movement. Remember, momentum builds and clarity comes, and peace will replace the panic. Obedience brings its own kind of confidence. So just keep moving until fear loses its hold. All right, I'm going to encourage you guys, grab your journals, or if you want to grab your phone and note memo for yourself. But I'm going to encourage you, this is going to be this week's challenge. All right, I want you to reflect on these 3 questions. Number 1, what's one thing I've been putting off and why? And question number 2, what emotion is underneath that delay? Consider, is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it just overwhelm of how big the step is? So maybe we need to break it down into little steps. Or is it perfectionism, waiting for everything to be perfect, or the perfect timing, or not all the ducks in a row, or I don't know what it's going to look like at the end? What emotion is under the delay of the thing you've been putting off? And number 3, ask yourself, what one step can I take this week to move forward in faith? Then I want to encourage you to complete this sentence. Say, I'm done letting later steal from me. Today, I decide I will take one step by blank. So fill in the blank. What is the one step you're going to do today to start taking movement? Guys, that's your decision day declaration. So you don't need to know the whole path. Just take the next step that God has shown you. Because delayed obedience is still disobedience. But your faithful movement opens doors you didn't even know existed. Get ready for God to meet you in your movement. And remember, today isn't just another podcast episode. It is a crossroads. If you can keep waiting for someday, or you can decide today. Every great breakthrough starts with one brave choice, and yours starts now. I want to encourage you guys, if you're ready to go further, if you're done circling the same mountain and ready to climb it, guys, I would love to coach you personally. So I'd encourage you to visit communicationarchitect.org. You're going to find free resources there you can download. You're going to find information about my coaching program. There's information about the books I have written if you want to go there. The book Decision Day, I'm actually almost done with. It's in final edit, so I'm looking forward to let you know when that's ready to be released. But I want to encourage you, if this podcast has blessed you, share it with a friend. Come back and listen to next week's episodes. But I want to remind you, as always, I am cheering you on. You are capable, you are called, you are loved, and you are more than ready. and you're better than you think. So guys, let's move forward one step of faith at a time.